The tissue made up of similar type of cells is called simple permanent tissue. Hence, it is homogeneous in nature. Buoyancy is nothing but the property of aquatic plants to float on the surface of the water. Parenchyma cells containing chlorophyll pigments which help chlorophyll. The very job of chlorophyll is what? To help in photosynthesis. What is cell wall deposition? That is deposition of an additional substance called pectin over cellulose and hemicellulose. Hello dear students, welcome back to session 2 of this chapter called Anatomy of Flowering Plants. Myself, B. Shobha Rani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, the Temple of Excellence. What did we study in the last session of this very interesting chapter called Anatomy of Flowering Plants? We studied about the meristematic tissue, and we have studied as to what is histology, what is a tissue, what is an organ, then the types of classification of plant tissues. That is, the plant tissues have been broadly classified into meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue has been again broadly classified into two types, based one on the origin and the other one based on the position. Then we studied about the permanent tissue. Why they are called as permanent tissue? Those are the tissues which has lost the capacity to divide and redivide. Once the meristematic cells lose the capacity to divide and redivide, they get transformed into permanent tissues. So in today's session, we are going to study about the permanent tissues. And as I said, the permanent tissues have been again broadly classified into two types. Permanent tissues have been broadly classified into two types. One is called the simple permanent tissue and the other one is called the complex permanent tissue. What is the basis for classifying the permanent tissue into simple and complex? Based on the number of cell types, right? Or you can also use the word called elements. So in simple permanent tissue, only one type of cells. Only one type of cells. In complex, more than one type of cells. Hence the name complex. Simple means only one type of cells. So in today's session, we'll be studying about the simple tissues, right? So as I said, simple tissues are, how do we define the word called simple tissues? The tissue made up of similar type of cells is called simple permanent tissue. Hence it is homogeneous in nature. All the cells are of similar type. Hence they are called homogeneous. If they are different, we call it as heterogeneous. And they are the three very important types of simple permanent tissue are, one is called parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So simple, as I said, permanent tissue has been broadly classified into simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue based on the number of cell types. In simple permanent tissue is made up of only one type of cells, whereas complex permanent tissue is made up of more than one type of cells. And as I said, what is a simple permanent tissue? A tissue which is made up of similar type of cells is called simple permanent tissue, and hence the cells are homogeneous. What do you mean by homogeneous? Similar. Homo means similar. All the cells are similar in nature, hence they are called homogeneous in nature. What are the three types of simple permanent tissue? One is parenchyma, which is a food storage tissue. Second one is collenchyma, which is a living mechanical tissue. And sclerenchyma is a dead mechanical tissue. So simple permanent tissues have a specific function to perform. They have a specific, like for example, parenchyma, food storage is its function. Collenchyma to give mechanical support. Sclerenchyma to give mechanical support to the plant body. Now let us study one by one about the simple permanent tissue. First and foremost is parenchyma. As I said, parenchyma is a food storage tissue. It is a food storage tissue. What do you mean by food storage tissue? Its job is to store the reserve food materials. Now let us understand. In this picture, you can see the beautiful picture of the parenchyma tissue. What is parenchyma tissue? It is a type of simple permanent tissue. It is a food storage tissue. So it is a simple living permanent tissue, very, very important. Collenchyma, we call it as a living mechanical tissue. And sclerenchyma, we call it as a dead mechanical tissue. Why do we call it as living? Because it is having the living substance called protoplasm. Protoplasm, we use a word called protoplasm. When the cell is not having protoplasm, we call it as a dead cell, right? The cells, and what are the characteristic features of parenchyma now? Let us understand with the diagram. Just like how we have studied about meristematic cells, what are the characteristic features or cytological features of meristematic tissue? In a similar way, what are the cytological features of this parenchyma tissue? The cells are isodiametric. Here you can see they are of the same shape, either oval or polygonal or irregular in shape. So what is the shape? The cells are isodiametric. Almost all the cells are of the same size, either oval or polygonal or irregular in shape. This is the first cytological feature. Moving on to the second cytological feature. Here, I think in meristematic tissue, you have come across the cells are compactly arranged without any intercellular spaces. Here, see, just opposite to the meristematic tissue. Here, the cells are loosely arranged, not compactly arranged. They are loosely arranged with large intercellular spaces. Here, you can see, this is called intercellular space. Intercellular space. See, you can see the gap. So this gap is called as what? Intercellular space. Did you observe the gap in meristematic tissue? No. So one cell, the other cell are closely attached. Here you can see there's a lot of space or a gap between two cells, and that space is called intercellular space. That is a very unique characteristic feature of the parenchyma cells. Next, the cell wall even in parenchyma is thin and made up of cellulose. So here the cell wall is thin and made up of cellulose. Now let us understand once again what is simple permanent tissue. The tissue made up of similar type of cells is called as a simple permanent tissue. Hence it is homogeneous in nature. What are the three types of simple permanent tissue? One is parenchyma, which is a food storage tissue. Second one is collenchyma, but it is a living, parenchyma is a living food storage tissue. Collenchyma is a living mechanical tissue. Then sclerenchyma is a dead mechanical tissue. Moving on to the first one called parenchyma. Parenchyma is a simple permanent tissue which is a living food storage tissue. What are the cytological features? The cells are isodiametric, oval or polygonal or irregular in shape. And the cells are loosely arranged with large intercellular spaces. There is a lot of space between two cells or gap between two cells, which is called as intercellular spaces. And the cell wall is thin, made up of what? Cellulose. Moving on to the next very important features of parenchyma tissue. The cell contains a large vacuole. See, in meristematic tissue, the vacuole was absent or even if present, very small. Here you can see it contains large vacuole surrounded by the layer membrane is called tonoplast. So this is one question which may be asked. What is tonoplast? The membrane that surrounds the vacuole is called as a tonoplast. Next, the vacuole contains cell sap. The contents that is found in the cell, sap means what? Contents. It might be sugar, minerals, etc., etc. All that put together is called as cell sap, or even it might be ergastic substances. And the cell contains what? Distinct nucleus and dense cytoplasm occupying the peripheral region. So you can see here. So here you can see vacuole is present. So this is vacuole. Here you can see the vacuole. Here you can see the nucleus and even the cytoplasm. So dense vacuole, the large vacuole, dense cytoplasm, dense nucleus and cytoplasm. So what are the other features? The cells contains a large vacuole surrounded by tonoplast, and the vacuole contains cell sap, and the cell contains a distinct nucleus and a prominent nucleus and dense cytoplasm which occupies the peripheral region, not the center, occupies the peripheral. There it was centrally located. Next, what are the functions of parenchyma then? As you know, parenchyma has a great role to play. You know, it is a living food storage tissue. But sometimes, you know, the parenchyma tissue gets itself modified. What do you mean by modification? There's one particular term which you should understand. Modification. Why does a parenchyma undergoes modification? Other than its original function of food storage, it wants to perform some special functions. What are the special functions? For example, you might have come across in aquatic plants. The plants float on the surface of the water, and it is mainly due to aerenchyma tissue. Aerenchyma is a modified parenchyma tissue. Chlorenchyma tissue, which is the palisade and spongy chlorenchyma, is mainly helps in photosynthesis. So, other than the food storage, if at all it wants to perform some special function, it undergoes modification. So, now let us understand. They are involved in many physiological activities like photosynthesis, respiration, storage, secretion and excretion. So, what are the main very important functions of parenchyma? They are involved in many physiological activities like what? Photosynthesis, respiration, food storage, secretion and excretion. Next, helpful in conduction of water, mineral salts and food materials also. As I said, aerenchyma tissue is a modified parenchyma tissue. I hope you might have come across the large intercellular spaces. What you have seen in between two cells in parenchyma tissue is filled with air. And that air will reduce the specific gravity of the cells, thereby helping the cells to float on the surface of the water. It makes the cells lightweight so that it can float on the surface of the water and helping in a property called buoyancy. So, aerenchyma tissue helps in buoyancy. What is buoyancy? Property of aquatic plants to float on the surface of water. So, what is buoyancy? It is the property of aquatic. All plants cannot float on the surface of the water. It is only certain aquatic plants which float on the surface of the water because they are made up of a special kind of parenchyma tissue called aerenchyma tissue, which helps in bringing about a property called buoyancy. What is buoyancy? Buoyancy is nothing but the property of aquatic plants to float on the surface of the water. Hope you have understood the very important functions of parenchyma. So, what are the characteristic features, cytological features? The cell contains large vacuole surrounded by tonoplast. The vacuole contains cell sap, and the cell contains distinct nucleus and dense cytoplasm occupy the peripheral region. What are the functions of parenchyma? They are involved in many physiological activities like photosynthesis, respiration, storage, secretion and excretion, helpful in conduction of water, mineral salts and food materials. Then aerenchyma helps in what? Buoyancy to aquatic plants. So, types of parenchyma tissue. So, as I said, one is chlorenchyma tissue, second one is aerenchyma, then prosenchyma and idioblast. So, all these are called modified parenchyma tissues. Modified parenchyma tissues. Here you can see chlorenchyma, here parenchyma, aerenchyma, prosenchyma, then epidermal parenchyma, xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma associated with a complex tissue called xylem is called xylem parenchyma, phloem parenchyma. So here you can see the two types of chlorenchyma. One is called palisade, which are elongated cells compactly arranged filled with chloroplasts, whereas spongy parenchyma are spherical cells having large intercellular space filled with chloroplasts. So all these are the types of parenchyma tissue. Now let us move on to the first one called chlorenchyma. They are parenchyma cells containing chlorophyll pigments help in photosynthesis. So what is a very important role of chlorenchyma? It is usually found in the central part of the leaf called mesophyll. So they are parenchyma cells containing chlorophyll pigments which help chlorophyll. The very job of chlorophyll is what? To help in photosynthesis. Chlorenchyma tissue is again broadly classified into two types. One is called palisade, the other one is called spongy. Here you can see palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. What is the basis for classifying them? Based on the shape. Palisade parenchyma are elongated cells and compactly arranged cells. Here you can see they are elongated and compactly arranged, laden with chloroplasts. Spongy parenchyma, they are spherical cells having large intercellular spaces filled with chloroplasts. Palisade and spongy parenchyma or chlorenchyma is present, both are present in dicot leaf. A dicot leaf has both palisade chlorenchyma and spongy chlorenchyma, whereas a monocot leaf will have only spongy chlorenchyma. That is also a very, very important point to differentiate a dicot leaf from a monocot leaf other than the venation, other than the two surfaces. This also forms a very important basis for differentiating a monocot leaf from a dicot leaf. Dicot leaf will have both the types of chlorenchyma, that is the palisade as well as spongy. Monocot plants will have, a monocot leaf will have only spongy parenchyma. Next, aerenchyma. Already I said the parenchyma cells having large intercellular spaces filled with air, and that air will have what? It will reduce the specific gravity and makes the cells lightweight and helps in buoyancy. What is buoyancy? Particularly in hydrophytic plants or aquatic plants, buoyancy is a property of aquatic plants to float on the surface of the water. Next, third type is prosenchyma. They are thick-walled parenchyma cells which give mechanical support in herbaceous, like the hydrophytic plants. Herbaceous means what? Soft-stemmed plants are called herbaceous plants. Next, idioblasts. They are the parenchyma cells which store ergastic substances. Unwanted substances are called ergastic substances. So this is the classification of parenchyma. Here, as I said, here you can see the prosenchyma, here you can see the aerenchyma, you can see the air cavities. Here you can see the chlorenchyma which is filled with chloroplast or chlorophyll. Here xylem parenchyma, then mesophyll parenchyma, that is found in the leaf. The only original function of parenchyma is food storage. Other than the food storage, if at all it gets modified to serve some special functions. Some special functions may be like buoyancy, helping in giving mechanical support, helping in photosynthesis. So, parenchyma undergoes modification to serve some special functions. Such modified parenchyma tissues are the chlorenchyma tissue, which helps in photosynthesis, and chlorenchyma is usually found in the mesophyll of a leaf, and it has been broadly classified into two types, that is palisade and spongy, based on the shape of the cells. Palisade are elongated, compactly arranged, laden with chloroplasts, which help in photosynthesis. Spongy are spherical cells having large intercellular spaces and filled with chloroplasts. A dicot leaf will have both the palisade and spongy chlorenchyma, whereas monocot leaf will have only spongy parenchyma or spongy chlorenchyma. Moving on to the second one called aerenchyma. Aerenchyma is also a modified parenchyma tissue wherein the large intercellular spaces are filled with air and which reduces the specific gravity of the cells and helps in bringing about buoyancy in hydrophytic plants or aquatic plants. Prosenchyma, they are thick-walled. The very word itself will tell you. Because they are thick-walled, obviously they give also help serve in giving mechanical support in herbaceous plants, that is soft-stemmed plants. Then idioblasts, they are the parenchyma cells which store ergastic substances. Hope you have understood about what is parenchyma and what are the types of parenchyma. Moving on to collenchyma. Here you can see in the beautiful picture. Here you can see the thick wall. And collenchyma tissue is a living mechanical tissue. It is a living mechanical tissue. Why it is called living? It is having the living substance. And why it is called mechanical tissue? It gives mechanical support. Imagine, particularly this collenchyma tissue is found in the leaves and the stem. You know, there's a strong wind, heavy rainfall, but in spite of it, nothing will happen to the leaves because the mechanical support is given by this collenchyma tissue. They will ask, this is a very important question usually asked in the examination. Name a living mechanical tissue. It is collenchyma. Name a dead mechanical tissue. That is sclerenchyma. So what is collenchyma? It is also a type of simple living mechanical tissue, permanent tissue. And the cell, now let us understand the features, cytological features of collenchyma tissue. Their cells are isodiametric, same shape. Here you can see they are isodiametric, polygonal in shape. And the cells are compactly arranged. Here you can see the compactly arranged cells without any intercellular spaces. So there is no intercellular. But parenchyma you can see large intercellular spaces. But in collenchyma you don't find any intercellular spaces. Here the cell wall is thick, composed of a chemical substance called cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. As I said, that collenchyma is a living mechanical tissue giving mechanical support to the parts of a plant body like the leaf and the stem. So imagine how is it possible for this collenchyma tissue to give mechanical support only when it is having some additional substances that gives it that functionality. So that is mainly because of the presence of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. The primary cell wall material is cellulose and hemicellulose. There is an additional deposition of another chemical substance called pectin, which gives its to give mechanical support. So that process is called as pectinization. Pectinization. This is called pectinization. Lignification. Deposition of lignin over cellulose and hemicellulose in case of sclerenchyma is called lignification. Here it is called pectinization. Next, the cells contain large vacuole. Here you can see the vacuole. The cells contain large vacuole. Next, the cells contain dense cytoplasm and a distinct nucleus. Both are occupied peripheral in region. Here you can see peripheral means what? Near the boundary. All these are the characteristic features of collenchyma. So I repeat, what are the, now let us brief up as to what are the characteristic features of this collenchyma. It is a simple living mechanical tissue. The cells are isodiametric, oval or polygonal in shape. The cells are arranged compactly without any intercellular spaces. The cell wall is thick, composed of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. The cell contains a large vacuole. The cell contains dense cytoplasm and a distinct nucleus. Both are occupied peripheral in region. So this is the second simple permanent tissue. Now let us move on to the third tissue, but before that we'll go to some more points. So it is found in hypodermis of dicot stem. Collenchyma is usually found in the hypodermis of the dicot stem. It gives mechanical support, hence it is called living mechanical tissue. In herbaceous plant and in the young dicot stem, collenchyma cells contain chloroplast, which helps in photosynthesis. Sometimes other than giving mechanical support, it also helps in what? Photosynthesis. Now what are the types of collenchyma? Collenchyma tissue has been broadly classified into three types based on the type of pectinization, based on the types of cell wall deposition. We can say one is called angular collenchyma, second one is called lamellar collenchyma, and the third one is called lacunar collenchyma. Now let us understand the types of collenchyma. Why it is called angular? Here you can see in the diagram. What is cell wall deposition? That is deposition of an additional substance called pectin over cellulose and hemicellulose. Based on the cell wall deposition only, collenchyma has been broadly classified into three types. Angular collenchyma, when the cell wall deposition happens at the angles, and our angles are at the corner walls. Lamellar, tangential walls. So pectin is deposited on the tangential walls layer by layer. So it is called lamellar. Lacunar, particularly pectin is deposited in the intercellular spaces, hence it is called lacunar. What are the three types of collenchyma? Angular, lamellar and lacunar. What is the basis for classifying collenchyma into these three types? Based on the cell wall deposition. What is that cell wall deposition? Addition of a chemical substance called pectin over cellulose and hemicellulose. So if the cell wall deposition is at the angles or at the corner walls, it is called angular. If the pectin is deposited on the tangential walls layer by layer, it is called lamellar. If the pectin is deposited in the intercellular spaces, it is called lacunar. Here you can see the first type. That is, here you can see the first one, that is angular. Here you can see the cell wall deposition in the angles, thick end corners. Here you can see. Next, second one is lamellar. So here you can see that the cell wall deposition. Here is this one. This is called lamellar. This is called angular and this is called lamellar and this is called lacunar. So this is at the cell wall deposition is at the angles. Here the cell wall deposition is in the intercellular spaces. Here it is on the tangential walls. Here you can see on the tangential walls. Let us move on to the third type of simple permanent tissue, that is sclerenchyma. As I said, it is called as a dead mechanical tissue. Why it is called dead mechanical tissue? It is not having the living substance, hence the name dead. And it is a mechanical supporting tissue, hence it is called a dead mechanical tissue. Why? As I said, what is the living substance of a cell? Protoplasm. So when the cells lose protoplasm at maturity, you call it as dead cells. Now let us understand what What are the characteristic features or cytological features of sclerenchyma? The cells are highly lignified. What do you mean by lignification? So there is an additional deposition of a chemical substance called lignin over cellulose and hemicellulose. So this process is called lignification. Whereas in cholenchyma it is called pectinization. Here it is called lignification. So the cells are highly lignified, and it is because of this lignified cell wall they are able to give mechanical support. Imagine the huge trees. The plants, huge trees and the plants are subjected to environmental factors or environmental conditions, may it be heavy rainfall or a strong wind, but in spite of it the plants are able to stand straight, erect, and that is all because of the mechanical support that is given by the sclerenchyma tissue. And next, the cells possess narrow lumen. What do you mean by lumen? The empty space. Here, the space is reduced. The empty space is reduced because of the deposition of lignification, because of the deposition of lignin. More lignin deposition will be there, and hence the lumen is narrow, very less. So lumen means the empty space. At some region lignification are absent. Such areas are called as pits. So you may not find lignification at one particular point areas, and such areas are called as what? Pits. So I repeat, sclerenchyma is a third type of simple permanent tissue, which is a dead mechanical tissue. Why it is called dead? Because as it loses protoplasm when it attains maturity, hence the name dead, and it gives mechanical support, hence it is called dead mechanical tissue. And the cells are highly lignified. Why they are lignified? Because of the deposition of an additional substance called lignin over cellulose and hemicellulose, and that process of cell wall deposition is called lignification. And it is because of this lignification only it is able to give mechanical support to the plant body. And the cells possess what? Narrow lumen. Why there is a narrow lumen? Because there is more deposition of lignin, and at some regions you don't find the lignification, and such areas are called as pits. So here you can see the sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is again broadly classified into two types. One is called fiber and the other one is called sclerids. Here you can see sclerenchyma, and these are called fibers. So here these are called sclerids. These are called sclerids, and this is fiber. Here again sclerids are of two different types based on the shape. Here you can see they are spherical. They are called brachysclerids. Here pillar-like, they are called macrosclerid. Here they are bone-shaped. They are called osteosclerids. This is star-shaped, hence called astrosclerids. Filiform is hair-like. So they are called filiform sclerids. So now let us understand the types of sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma cells are broadly classified into two types, namely fibers and sclerids. Now this is a fiber. Here you can see the lumen. Lumen is narrow due to lignification. So you can see the structure of a fiber. Now as I said, sclerenchyma is broadly classified into two types. What are they? Fibers and sclerids. So what are fibers? The fibers are elongated cells. Here you can see they are elongated cells having tapering ends. What do you mean by tapering ends? Pointed ends. Having tapering ends or pointed ends. And here the cells are elongated cells with having tapering ends, and the cells are hexagonal or polygonal in shape. The cells are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces, and the cell wall is very thick, and that thickness is due to deposition of lignin. So let us recap as to what is this sclerenchyma tissue. So sclerenchyma is a dead mechanical tissue which is broadly classified into two types. One is called fibers and the other one is called sclerids. What are fibers? Fibers are elongated cells having tapering ends, and the lumen is greatly reduced because of lignification, and the cells are either hexagonal or polygonal in shape. The cells are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces, and the cell wall is thick due to deposition of lignin. So at maturity, as I said, the cells lose protoplasm, hence they become dead and having lumen. At some regions of the cell wall, lignin deposition is absent and you call them as what? Pits. Sclerenchyma fibers give mechanical support, hence they are called as dead mechanical tissue. Imagine fibers are are of great economic importance. For example, like the rope that is made out of the jute, everything out there, nothing but what called fibers. They are very strong enough, right? So the fibers are found in the hypodermis, in monocot stem, pericycle, and in bundle cap in dicot stem, and bundle sheath extension in monocot stem. So sclerids. Now that was about fibers. Now let us understand about the sclerids. So here you can see that is spherical. Here it is spherical. Spherical shape. Here it is star shaped. Star shaped. Here it is hair-like. You can see hair-like. Here it is bone-like. Here it is pillar-like. So again, sclerids, they are also called stone cells. They are also called hard cells. Like for example, the shell of coconut and the outer coat of badam. All those are the classical examples for sclerids because they are very hard in nature. Hence the name stone cells or sclerotic cells. The cells are spherical. So based on the different shapes, sclerids have been broadly classified into 5 types. Based on what? Based on shape. First one called brachysclerid, spherical in shape. Second one, osteosclerid, bone shaped, spherical shaped. Then 3, that is macrosclerids, pillar like. Then 4, asterosclerid, star shaped. Then 5th one, trichosclerid, that is hair like. So what are sclerids? Sclerids are nothing but otherwise called sclerotic cells are stone cells. Because of their hardness, they are given the name as stone cells. The cells are spherical or oval in shape and are highly lignified, and due to their rigidity, they are called as what? Stone cells. And sclerids are found where? In seed coats and in pulp of fruits like apple, sapota, guava, seed coats of legumes and leaves of tea. And these sclerids have been broadly classified into 5 types based on their shape. Brachysclerids, here you can see the brachysclerid, that is spherical shape. Osteosclerids, that is bone shape. Then macrosclerids, pillar-like. Then asterosclerids, that is star-shaped. Then trichosclerid, that is hair-like. So this is all about the classification of sclerenchyma. Hope you have understood the simple permanent tissues what we have discussed in today's session, that is about parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. I'll be back with another very interesting concept of this chapter, that is about the complex permanent tissue. So far in this session we were learning about the simple permanent tissues. So in the coming session we'll be learning about the complex permanent tissues, namely the xylem and phloem. As we know, xylem is a water conducting tissue and phloem is a food conducting tissue. Both are very, very important. Vascular tissues are conducting tissues. So I'll be back with this concept in the coming session. Till then, goodbye and thank you.